Hello and welcome. The fear-mongering and probably ludicrous concept of achieving net zero greenhouse gas emissions, thanks to corrupt mainstream media's rabid fear-mongering, has gained significant momentum globally. In a classic chicken little frenzy, it's absurdly touted as a crucial step towards mitigating the imaginary catastrophic impacts of non-existent global boiling. They blurt that while the transition to a net zero economy presents substantial challenges, it's fraudulently promoted as presenting opportunities for businesses, economies, and societies worldwide. The undeniable truth is it can only accomplish the polar opposite in unmitigated, premeditated disaster. Climate panic pundits forever shriek that their bought and paid for scientific consensus evidence is settled, but they never provide substantive proof to back their criminal insanity. Scientific outcomes can only be determined by observational facts, not by shared opinions. Moreover, they conveniently omit to mention that the historical data consistently shows an increase in temperature before any increase in CO2, meaning their global boiling hypothesis is predicated upon putting the cart before the horse. This fraudulent farce is entirely founded in absolute falsehood, evidenced by the fact that the Arctic ice has reached its highest level for the past 20 years. They desperately whine that failing to limit global temperature rise to 1.5 degrees centigrade above pre-industrial levels risks triggering irreversible and devastating consequences, but never furnish peer-reviewed evidence to back these preposterous claims. While anxiously checking to see if the sky is falling, they further snivel about fictitious sea level rise, phantom biodiversity loss, and imaginary disruptions to food and water supplies, while parroting the nonsense that achieving net zero emissions is the only way to avert this phony climate crisis. More panic-mongering warns of climatological risks and challenges that, upon objective investigation, do not exist and never will exist. The claimed transition to net zero demands unsustainable systemic changes across all sectors of the economy, necessitating unworkable and impossibly expensive investments in so-called clean energy infrastructure, energy efficiency measures, and totally pointless carbon removal technologies. In Canada, a massive solar panel array was wiped out in minutes by a sudden hailstorm and deemed too expensive to repair. Sustainable? Really? Net zero's scam transformation will trigger economic disruption and job losses in high carbon industries. Moreover, they voice unfounded concerns that an over-reliance on carbon offsets and removals could hinder efforts to rapidly reduce emissions at the source. Critics also argue that the long-term nature of net zero targets, typically set for 2050, may foster complacency and delay urgent action in the near term. So, democidal efforts must be inflicted at once. More Orwellian doublespeak arises in the absurdity that embracing the racketeering net zero scam presents a compelling economic opportunity for businesses and economies worldwide when it can only accomplish the exact reverse. More cretinous alarmism brays the transition will drive innovation, create new industries and green jobs, enhance energy security and improve public health by reducing air pollution. What utter bollocks. But wait, there's more. Investing in clean energy and sustainable infrastructure contributes to a sustainable economic recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic. Always with the dog-eared sustainable refrain. Another demonstrably ludicrous assertion is that achieving net zero is crucial for preserving ecosystems and biodiversity while ensuring the long-term food and water security needed for the population. So, according to this deranged logic, taking net zero action now will prevent the build-up of climate risks and reduce the odds of initiating the most catastrophic impacts of climate change. Whoa, they're really pulling out all the stops on this as the mainstream media-driven fear meter cranks off the charts. They further argue that obtaining the supposed benefits of net zero while mitigating climate catastrophe risks demands a comprehensive and coordinated approach. Alarmist language feverishly urges governments, businesses and communities to collaborate to ensure a just transition, investing in education, reskilling programs and social protection for affected workers and communities. We're constantly bombarded with the threadbare furphy of scientific consensus, despite science being the evaluation of evidence, not a mere vote or a show of hands. Countless times in the past, a majority of scientists have wrongly concluded all sorts of erroneous assertions about the natural world. The authentic scientific method of objective investigation, repeatable experimentation, and informed debate, not consensus, has expanded our understanding of the universe and our place within it. Upon reflection, it's difficult to cite any other protest group self-sabotaging to the degree of the drooling imbeciles of Extinction Rebellion. If the instigation and promotion of XR's rabid lunacy was a deliberate ploy to destroy public confidence in their hopelessly misguided movement, it couldn't have been more successful. These brain-dead morons continually shoot themselves in both feet with every nonsensical action that never accomplishes anything other than inconveniencing and greatly pissing off the public. If there were a competition for the world's dumbest protesters, XR would tower head and shoulders above all idiot contenders. They would reign supreme as the unsurpassable Olympic champions of sheer stupidity. XR protesters frequently block busy roads, bridges and intersections in major cities like London, Berlin and New York, causing significant disruptions to traffic and daily life. Their 2019 protests in London involved occupying sites like Oxford Circus, Waterloo Bridge and Marble Arch. XR has staged prolonged occupations and encampments in prominent public spaces, such as Parliament Square in London, disrupting normal activities and drawing media attention. Protesters glued themselves to government buildings, bank headquarters, theatres, train stations, and other infrastructure, making it difficult for authorities to remove them, except for when they superglued themselves to unfastened hand railings to be hilariously moved along, stuck to the freestanding railing. While XR ostensibly advocates non-violence, some of its offshoots, like the financial terrorism of Just Stop Oil, engage in property damage, such as smashing windows of banks, media offices and public buildings. A key part of XR's strategy involves willingly getting arrested during civil disobedient actions to overwhelm police resources and draw attention to their meaningless cause. It's disrupted public transport systems like the London Underground by climbing on trains or gluing themselves to train doors and tracks. These dangerous tactics were hastily abandoned when angry crowds aggressively removed offenders while roughly venting their frustration upon these mindless buffoons. While disruptive tactics gain lickspittle media coverage, they face ferocious, yet meticulously unreported, criticism for causing severe inconvenience to the general public, instantly and permanently alienating the wider community. XR's recent announcement to switch public disruption tactics to mass protests and relationship building indicates a welcome change in its approach, but commentators suggest this is a too little too late grasping at straws gesture, underscored by the lamentable history of a failed movement and its discredited cause that never existed. The racketeering net zero scam is enshrined in the annals of infamy as a covert mechanism for empowering globalism's attempted genocide of humanity. We must not and we will not allow them to succeed. Thank you for watching.